Alright guys, welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be focusing on identifying characteristics of parallel lines and transversals. We're going to show that mastery in class by scoring at least a 70% on the exit ticket. Hopefully you have your note sheet in front of you. If you don't, take out a blank sheet of paper and we'll get you a fresh copy tomorrow. Now, today's video is going to be very heavy on vocab, but the important thing to keep in mind with this vocab, once you learn it, you'll be able to solve all types of problems with parallel lines. So, our first vocab word is a transversal, and a transversal is a line that intersects two or more lines at different points. In our example here, that is my transversal. It is intersecting lines A and B at two different points. Now, you can have it where there's 3 lines and a transversal goes through. You can have 4 lines. We're going to talk specifically to start with just 2 sets of lines, but our transversal is that line that cuts into both lines. Corresponding angles are 2 angles that lie on the same side of the transversal in corresponding spots. Now, corresponding means the same place. So we want angles that are on the same side of the transversal that are in the same place. Now, A and B are my parallel lines. So we're going to look on parallel line A and parallel line B. If I do my top left, that's corresponding to the top left on parallel line B. If I do my top right, that's corresponding to the top right on parallel line B. You can use different colors, you can use different symbols, but there are multiple pairs of corresponding angles. So make sure you're denoting all of them. If I do my bottom left, that's corresponding to my bottom left on line B, and my bottom right corresponds to my bottom right on line B. So make sure you know there are 4 sets of corresponding angles within 2 parallel lines and 1 transversal. Now, the important part with corresponding angles, we're going to use that symbol, which means they are congruent. So whatever your angle is, it is always going to be congruent to its corresponding part. So if my purple circle is 108, that means my purple circle down here is 108. If my triangle was 72, then my triangle here is 72. As long as they are corresponding angles, they're going to be congruent. Now, alternate interior angles. Think of what those words actually mean outside of geometry. Interior is going to be inside my parallel lines, and they are on opposite sides of the transversal. That's the alternate part. So, if I have parallel lines A and B, to begin with, my interior are these 2 sides because they are inside my parallel lines. Now, for alternate interior, I have the bottom left on line A is alternate interior to the top right on B. They are opposite sides of my transversal, but they're still interior angles. I can also do my top right is alternate interior to bottom right is alternate interior to the top left. It is the opposite side of the transversal, but it's still inside those parallel lines. In this case, corresponding, we had 4 sets of corresponding angles. We only are going to have 2 sets of alternate interior angles in 2 parallel lines. Alternate interior angles are also congruent to each other. So, if my circle is 108, my bottom circle is 108. If this triangle is 72, this triangle is 72. Now, alternate exterior is similar, but same idea. Exterior, instead of interior being inside, exterior is outside the parallel lines and opposite sides of the transversal. So, exterior angles are going to be the top here and the bottom here. Those are my 4 exterior angles. They're outside my parallel lines A and B. Again, if I start with the top left, my alternate exterior, I need to go to the opposite side of the transversal. So it's going to go to my bottom right. They are opposite sides of my transversal cutting through the lines. Then I have my top right matches with my bottom left. They are both outside the parallel lines, so they are exterior, and they are alternate because they are on opposite sides of those parallel lines. So these are also going to be congruent. So if my top circle is 108, my bottom circle is 108. If my top triangle is 72, my bottom triangle is 72. Keep in mind when you are doing these, we want to focus on the vocab terms and use what these words mean outside of math to help you. Alternate is the same as opposite, interior and exterior, inside and outside. So we want to keep relating them to what we already know. Now, supplementary angles. These are any angles, and we know supplementary, that adds up to 180 degrees. Now, on this picture, I'm going to put all these circles and all these triangles. In this picture, any circle plus any triangle is going to equal 180 degrees. And we know that a straight line is 180. Well, we have a bunch of straight lines that we can look at that add to 180. So supplementary angles, again, as a review, is just anything that adds up to 180. Vertical angles, again, a review, but these are super important when it comes to these. These are angles who form opposite rays. They are across your vertex. So I have those two are vertical angles. I have those two that are vertical angles. On the other set of vertices, I have those two are vertical and those two are vertical. So we have 4 different sets of vertical angles. And as you remember from last unit, vertical angles are congruent. They do equal each other. Now, the last type of angle, consecutive interior angles. Again, interior is going to be inside. Consecutive is going to be next to. So angles that lay on the same side of the transversal between the two lines. So my interior angles are here again. For consecutive interior, my circle and my triangle are consecutive interior. On the other side, my circle and my square are consecutive interior. Consecutive interior, because they are next to each other, these are going to add up to 180 degrees. So in this case, my circle plus my triangle equals 180. And then my circle plus my square equals 180. This is one of the very few angle types that is supplementary. We know vertical is congruent, alternate interior is congruent, alternate exterior is congruent, and corresponding are congruent. Please bring these notes and any questions you have to class tomorrow. We're going to continue going over these different angle types because, again, once you get these angle types and vocab down, you'll be able to solve any problem involving parallel lines. I look forward to seeing you then.